Hi guys, welcome to the latest podcast of YarninBlak. Today I've got a really great guest on, Lee Couch. I'll introduce you to her in a moment, but first I'd just like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land that I'm calling in from. I'm here in Baldwin Q on the land of the Wurundjeri people. I'd like to pay respect to the elders past, present, but also want to acknowledge the young people that are coming up who are going to be our future leaders and warriors for our culture. For everyone who knows me, I'm AJ Williams, but I want to actually introduce you to my guest today, Lee Couch. So, Lee, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I'm glad I've got you on. I've been an admirer and follower of you for a while, but
Mate.
but I want to actually get you to introduce yourself. Who are you? Where you're from? And
Yeah,
we'll have a bit
yeah,
more of a yarn.
yeah, beautiful. So, hi everyone. My name's Lee Couch, and I'm a proud Aboriginal woman from the Gamilaroi tribe in northern New South Wales. So, that's my mum's country. She was born and raised in a little town called Corindai, and like most mob, really moved a lot around in that northern New South Wales area. So places like Tamworth, Breeza, Kaluas, lived on a big reserve for Aboriginal people in Kaluas as well. And then resided in Gunnedah as well. So I've still got mob in Gunnedah. So if anyone's listening from northern New South Wales and Gunnedah, Yama, you mob. So then mum left her homelands when she was about 15 and made her way down to Naarm. So I was born and raised on the traditional lands in
Yeah,
Naarm and been part of the Victorian Aboriginal community my whole life.
yeah.
I just want to also acknowledge that I do come from a strong bloodline of Aboriginal women in my family, and just want to acknowledge the work that has been done before me and that legacy that I get to follow, and such a proud legacy and a strong legacy that I get to walk in every day.
Hmm. Beautiful. Kamilaroi country for you just mentioned is in northern New South Wales. I grew up in Bundjalung country, so
Ah,
up
okay.
up in Moolumbar and Benora Point Tweed Heads is where I kind
Yeah,
of grew up. So
yeah,
I know Kamilaroi area.
yeah.
Do you get up there quite a bit?
Oh, I haven't been home for, look, the last 5 or 6 years, but hoping to get home this January, which would be good, and take my daughter back again as well. So missing home for sure.
Nice. So what do you do?
Yeah,
Who is Lee Couch in
who is it?
2025?
Great question. I'm not really sure. No. It's just I think this is an ever evolving space that we sit in. And Lee Couch is an Aboriginal health and wellbeing practitioner. So looking at First Nations aromatherapy now, diving more deeper into a medical background with a healing framework. And so I've got product and I've got workshops and walk alongside a lot of our organizations on that healing journey. So really developing more of a culturally framed lens around health and well-being. So recreating that health and well-being from a healing informed lens.
Yeah. So healing informed is a really interesting word. How would you describe that to people?
Well, I think it's about looking at our two worlds and looking at one, our therapeutic practices
Yeah.
and our trauma informed practices, and really bringing those two modalities, those two relationships together, and then moving towards that healing informed lens because we need to. We
Yeah.
need to know the therapeutic way in which we heal, but we also need to have the trauma-informed lens. And that was what we were talking about just before we jumped onto the podcast, like really understanding a little bit more about that trauma-informed lens and how do we build those relationships to create a healing-informed practice with a
Yeah.
traditional lens.
Yeah. Because again, trauma informs kind of a big kind of concept, and it's we were just talking off screen. We might as well just put it onto here as well. But
Yeah,
like I was saying that I struggle a little bit when people talk about trauma informed and then not understanding where the trauma is actually coming from by
yeah,
by placing it. Aboriginal people, have experienced colonization and stolen generations. Thus, we're all traumatized. And,
Mhm.
and and that's where people place the trauma without actually looking at, well, let's look at the lives of the people that are here right now and what experiences have they been through. Yes,
Mhm.
as a result of colonization, and yes, as a result of stolen generations, but what is it that makes up the trauma that people experience today? And I
Yeah, yeah, sorry.
don't,
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's a really privileged point of view to live on this country and think that you haven't got any trauma, that you're not carrying trauma. It's just a collective space that we're all in right now. It's not just a black perspective that I've got more trauma than somebody else. We all live on this country, and part of that relationship that we're all carrying a specific amount of trauma from the past.
yeah. So, did you finish school, high school?
I did finish high
Grade school,
school.
school? Finish year
Yeah,
12?
yeah, I did finish
Yeah.
year 12.
So
Oh, it's my
after,
proudest moment.
yeah. So,
No,
question, at high
yeah,
school, what Aboriginal studies did you learn at high school, if
none
any? None?
at all. No, no. Yeah, I went to Princess Hill High School in
Ah,
Naarm in Carlton. So
yes.
during those times, there was absolutely no awareness around
Yeah.
Aboriginal culture. It was taught from that past perspective. I remember sitting there in the classroom and, them reading a book and holding up a picture, and our people were in chains and, enslaved, and me dying sitting there. My heart was racing, like
Yeah.
I just felt this overwhelming trauma coming up in that space and not identifying that this is trauma. But I was completely triggered in those spaces. There was shame, there was just an overwhelm,
Yeah.
every time they spoke about the past, because it wasn't a true indication of the past. It wasn't a great reference point for who we were. And I knew that. But, I felt isolated in having a voice around that as well.
Yeah. So after year 12, what
Yeah.
did you do then?
What did I do after year 12? Year 12, I did a few courses. I had no idea
Yeah. Yeah.
what I wanted to do or be in the world. I did clerical studies. I worked as a receptionist for a little while, did a bar cocktail course. I thought
Yeah.
this might be a bit exciting. So went into yeah, doing bar work and hospitality, and just really played around with the idea of having a bit of fun and creating a bit of
Yeah.
money. Because I didn't have that academic, well, I didn't feel I had that academic pathway. It wasn't paved out for me at all. So it was
Yeah.
just this matter of survival and making ends meet. And I wanted to have a huge amount of fun doing that. So I did anything that was going to give me that little bit of fun and little bit of money to travel and, yeah, to have fun.
Yeah. So where was the first place you got to travel to?
Where was the first place? I actually went on, this is real cringe. I actually went on the Fair Star Fun ship. So I traveled all around the South Pacific with a friend, like for 14 nights.
Nice.
It was wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is that like going to Vielo and Noumea and
Oh, all of it. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, okay.
Loved it, but it was wild.
Yeah. So if you could get away right now, where would you go? If I said to you, "Hey, here's 3 weeks off, 4 weeks off,
Oh,
fully paid," where would you go?
where would I go? I would probably go to the Greek islands.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd go to Europe for sure.
Yeah. You been there before?
No, but I grew up, of course, I went to school in Carlton. So I grew up with a really strong Italian and Greek culture. So a lot of my friends were European, and I really adapted and loved their culture. And one, because mine wasn't really that available. And two, this is where I felt like I felt safe within their culture as well. So really adapted that culture, and just, yeah, I think I've carried bits of that with me along the way.
Yeah, I think we do. I think we don't realize until we look back that I think about some of my friends at school that did come from other cultures and stuff that I've picked up, like even language or food tastes
Most of
and
them were swear words, right? The language.
yes,
Yeah,
yes. Yeah, they taught you those
of
first.
course. want to share some?
That's a different podcast.
Yeah, okay.
And we'll put little subtitles on that one just so we can
Yeah,
actually,
yeah,
yeah. So when you decided to create your business,
yeah.
what was the motivation behind it? What did you wake up one day and go, this is what I want to do?
No, so I worked in an identified position for Australia Post for 16 years and climbed my way up the corporate ladder and got to a point that I was their sales trainer and their state merchandiser and knew that this wasn't it for me, that this is not a destination. I am not going to be working for Australia Post for the rest of my life. So was pregnant with my daughter and decided to take a voluntary package. So during that time, there was, I guess there was a lot of reflection. What is that next path for me? And I was really spiritual, loved health and well-being, and just went and studied kinesiology. So took a voluntary package, enrolled in a kinesiology course in Hawthorne,
Mhm.
and that really started this incredible journey of understanding myself a little bit more. So I did so many. I was a little bit of a spiritual vagabond, going from one spiritual modality to another. So highly skilled in alternative therapies. But there was this yearning, this deep yearning that I really wanted to land in something and couldn't find what that was. So during my kinesiology days, I
Yeah.
worked a lot with essential oils, and the essential oils were this catalyst for just this big awakening. So I started to work with my clients on social emotional well-being, mental health, and I would include essential oils. And I was taken back by the profound impact that the essential oils would have on my clients. It was like this instant transformation. So I started to research the history of essential oils and went, this is culture, this is bush medicine. And I know that I need to make culture visible and accessible and represent our traditional practices in a Western and mainstream framework. So that was the development of my business.
So for people who don't know what
Easy.
kinesiology is,
Yeah.
how would you explain that to them?
Kinesiology is a relationship with the body and really understanding the body's feedback and muscle testing for the evidence. And it's almost like being a detective with the body. So we muscle tech, we ask a series of questions. It's energy based, it's about our meridian systems, it's a really alternative way of understanding our health and well-being and moving through specific challenges. So really relying on the body's feedback and asking the body questions and then waiting for that feedback through muscle testing.
Yeah.
But it's so
Awesome.
much more than that as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
That's just
Awesome.
in brief. I could go on for
Yeah.
hours.
So do you think the medical model is now incorporating more of those? Oh, well, I don't like to use alternative. I'm a Reiki
Yeah,
practitioner as well, so I don't
yeah,
want people to go
yeah. This is all
alternative
no.
means
Yeah,
alternative sometimes means ooh, it's kind of out there. But
yeah.
do you think it's actually being accepted more into the medical model now?
I think the anatomy part of kinesiology, and if we look at also, understanding the body systems and how we function is hugely important. And also, if we look at aromatherapy, it has a built-in medical background. So for me, what I've done is put our traditional practice on the top of these medically proven modalities that exist to create a more of a cultural lens on the work that I do. So really taking what I believe works, what I know works from that medical background, and then building out a new framework with our cultural informed lens on top of that,
Hmm. Hmm.
which has been a lot of work, right? I'm still like working on it. I still work through it every day.
Yeah, yeah. So cultural safety is a really interesting concept that we hear thrown around quite a lot.
Yeah.
how do you define cultural safety, and what makes you feel culturally safe when you rock up to a service or a program?
Yeah, God, cultural safety is more than one thing. And I think that's what people need to understand. It's not just one specific way of looking at a relationship or looking how we hold an environment. It's
Yeah,
far greater than that. It's complex. And for me, it's about understanding the past and history and the trauma that we as Aboriginal people carry, not just through the past, through like the immediate past, through history as well, and that intergenerational trauma that we as Aboriginal people carry.
yeah,
So for me, it's like understanding the past and that trauma-informed way of understanding who we are as Aboriginal people and adapting a lens to work with us on that journey to move forward.
yeah,
That's, yeah, but like I said, that is only just one part of cultural safety. Are we culturally safe as a collective group of people? If we're not coming from a trauma-informed lens, then I guess we need to look at how culturally safe are we? And it's a question for everybody to reflect on. How culturally safe am I? How culturally safe are you? How culturally safe are our environments? Is there an audit? Is there a reflection tool that we have?
yeah,
Like, is there an evaluation that I can self-evaluate on, am I culturally safe?
yeah. And it's not just about the tokenistic stuff like stick a flag up and put a painting up and just make sure we all wear lanyards with little badges on it to show
Exactly.
to show that we've got it. It's something that, as I like how you said, it changes because I know for me personally, what makes me feel culturally safe in one place may
Yeah.
not be the same as if I go to another place.
Exactly. And it is about the environment. It's about the people in the environment. How informed are they on cultural safety? How informed are they on trauma? How informed are they of community? Is there a language that goes with that? Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
For me to come into a space and feel culturally safe, there needs to be a language that is used to invite me into that space.
yeah, and then keep you there as
That's
well.
right. How do you maintain that cultural safety? And that is the golden question. How do
Yeah,
you maintain cultural safety?
yeah. So I think a lot of people want, a lot of organizations want, I want, I want cultural safety training, but they don't really understand cultural safety. And sometimes they go, is there a progress? Like, I don't know if I can make you culturally safe because, but I can give you enough skills to make you culturally proficient if you take on those skills.
And who determines whether they're culturally safe?
Yeah,
Whose determination is that? Like if you and I were working together, do you determine whether I'm culturally safe or do I determine whether you're culturally safe? That's what I was talking about, that it would be
yes,
great if we had a collective self-evaluation tool that we all used as a guide
yeah,
to a guide or a check-in to go, is there new training? Is there new awarenesses that I need to be aware of when I'm walking into different organizations? Doing a bit of research, I think too. It's not just about being informed on the day. It's that self-check-in the whole entire time. And it's about really being update with the social emotional well-being, our trauma-informed lens. What does cultural safety look like? Who are the organisations that are doing an incredible job
yeah,
with cultural safety and really mirroring what they're doing right?
yeah. And also calling out, but sometimes no, acknowledging that not all organizations are in the right headspace yet.
No. And I think transparency with that. I
Yeah,
worked with this organisation, a beautiful organisation, and they wanted to do work with Aboriginal businesses, with Aboriginal organisations. And my question to them is, why do you want to work with us?
yeah,
Why do you want to work with our organisations? And their why, they didn't, they were just, I'm not sure. I said, so work out your why.
Yeah.
why you want to have this journey. What does it mean to your organization, and what does it mean to the relationship that we have with your organization? And then work out what cultural safety plan that you need to have in place in order to have those
Those relationships.
relationships.
Yeah. So I suppose that goes into another word then where we talk about reconciliation.
Ah, reconciliation, yes.
And like, what does reconciliation mean to you personally?
You know, to me, it's a healed nation. It's it's a journey towards that incredible healed nation, to be working in partnerships, to be learning and unlearning and
And
committed.
relearning and relearning.
Exactly, and committed to that journey of reconciliation. It doesn't happen just one day a year. You and I don't go home and go, oh, great, I'm going to turn on the TV and forget about our relationships or where we're positioned on this country. It's something that we carry constantly. It's always in the background, and we're always navigating spaces through that. The non-Indigenous people get to turn that on and off.
Yeah.
And it's on a day that they go, oh, let's focus on reconciliation of this country. It's something that we do every single day. So for that reconciliation journey to to be authentic, it every single day to think about those relationships, to think about how much you know about Aboriginal culture, and to be willing to unlearn and learn on this country, and consistently in that unlearning and learning space as well.
Yeah. I like what you said then. I always say to people that, as you said, reconciliation's a journey. It's not a destination. It's
Yes,
not like
exactly.
we've reconciled now. Let's move on, because we see that in the feedback in commentary on social media. Like, well, we've said sorry. Why can't you guys move on?
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And reconciliation also means taking care of this land, because that's a big part of who we are and how we identify. This is our kin, this is our gunima, is for in my language is Mother Earth.
Yeah,
And reconciliation isn't just with me as an Aboriginal woman. It's with the land that's holding us. It's with that relationship. It's with the culture that already exists here. So
yeah,
there's such a bit, like I said, cultural safety, reconciliation, all of these, I guess, ideas that we have out there in the world is not just one thing.
yeah,
And when we think about Aboriginal culture and our worldview, it's because we think so holistically and collectively that it's not isolated. So that word reconciliation from the Western world is an isolated way of, today we are going to reconcile those relationships, or we need to
yeah,
do this and we need to get these Aboriginal businesses on board so we can assume or look like that we're doing the right thing. In actual fact, it's more than that.
yeah. Yeah, it is that relationship building. It's that continuation of the relationship. I know when I've worked with
From
organizations
a
before.
holistic view, because it's not
Yeah,
just about having a good relationship with me, because I come from a community
yeah. And then I
and I
can tick a
come from a
box.
culture.
I can tick a box on a reconciliation action plan. Like, I've laughed at a couple of organizations, and I shouldn't have said it that way, but I do when they've gone. They're doing that September audit that they put in, and they go, "Well, I've made some phone calls to some Aboriginal." I go, "That ain't a
Oh,
relationship. Sorry,
exactly.
that's a
Exactly.
phone call. That's an email.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
that's not a relationship."
Exactly. I did a reconciliation day this year with another sister, another Gamilaroi sister, and we had this big yarn about, should we actually be doing this? Like, this seems quite tokenistic. But I said to her, if we start to have that attitude and we don't show up in these spaces, what happens to that reconciliation journey? So I feel like it's still Aboriginal led. I
Yeah,
feel like it's Aboriginal driven on this country, and that we need to show up in these spaces to continue reconciliation,
yeah,
or else the Western world will drop the ball with it. They won't
yeah.
continue that journey.
So you mentioned you had a daughter.
Yes.
Um, what is she still at school?
Year 12.
Year
She's just
12.
finished
Wow.
year 11, going into year 12.
Oh.
Yeah.
Now, when we talked a bit about before that when you were at school, you didn't have much cultural training.
Yeah.
Do you notice any difference through your daughter's high school, or was there any
Yeah.
difference in cultural awareness training
I don't know if it's cultural awareness. Feel that,
or
um,
Aboriginal issues being discussed?
yeah, there is a lot more, yeah, there is a lot more education around history and where Aboriginal people are currently in this country. And a lot of, I guess, relationship building, they do try to do more. However, Gemma goes to a small little country school. So she's the only Aboriginal student at the school. So that's a huge responsibility for her to
Yeah.
carry on her own. She did, however, go to Thornbury Primary School in Naarm, which has had an incredible, I think they still do, an incredible Aboriginal pathway. So she learnt language from grade prep. She learnt the Woiwurrung language of the Wurundjeri people all the way
Yeah.
from prep to grade 5. So richly educated, highly focused on Aboriginal culture, Aboriginal ways. I used to do a health and wellbeing program there from a traditional lens. So the comparison's really difficult for me to put into perspective because she had such a rich education at Thornbury Primary School and then came to a country school where she's the only Indigenous student at the school currently. The perspectives are different. They're very, very different. It's hard for me to put that into perspective, whether they're doing a lot because of the foundation that Gemma's had
Yeah.
in her schooling. Yeah.
Yeah. Did she have any idea where she wants to go to next?
Oh yeah, she's a footballer,
Yeah.
loves football. She's training with the Murray Bush Rangers at the moment. So after she finishes year 12 next year, they've already started year 12. After she finishes year 12 next year, she's doing a double diploma at the Richmond Football Club.
Oh, a
Yeah.
sports and rec. Yeah, my son
Yeah.
did that. My son did that
Oh,
course.
no way. Did he love it?
He loved it. It's
Oh, great.
very practically based.
Yes. So that's what we feel Gem needs, like after that high school, leaving high school, really finding herself in a different environment other than school, but
Yeah.
something that's still going to hold her in place and find a little bit of her own leadership as well. So yeah, she's going to do the diploma and we'll see what happens after that. So lots of
That's
possibilities
awesome.
around
That's
Gemma.
awesome. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
If I could take you back to like when you were baristering kind of thing,
Oh, yeah, that
and
seems like another lifetime, Tom.
time, I know. Um, is there
God,
anything you would have liked to have studied or done or been?
I guess it's for me, I never really wanted to do anything academic. It wasn't, it just wasn't, yeah, it just wasn't who I was at that time.
Yeah.
So trying to, I guess I did a lot of the wrong things to have to try and navigate what it is that I liked, that I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And definitely, like what I'm doing currently, what I'm doing right now, building an Aboriginal business and working within the Victorian Aboriginal community and wider community in that education and training role, in the healing role, in the well-being space, and developing First Nations aromatherapy is definitely where I feel I need to be. And I think all of those little stepping stones really allowed me to fully embrace where I am. I just, never had an idea of what it was that I wanted to do. And I guess that is that whole spiritual aspect of of culture, that whole spiritual aspect of myself, that it was more free spirited than it was academic and wanting to be a certain way in form and structure and conclusion. It just, yeah, it wasn't my way of being at all,
Got two
if that
questions
makes
here that
sense.
go with your businesses. One is, how hard is it to establish an Aboriginal business, but how hard is it to establish a female
Led.
business, led business?
Um, I haven't really had any challenges around establishing a female-led business.
Okay.
The main challenges is, I guess, the creativity within the space to make sure that I'm always doing something different, because in the Aboriginal business space, we're less than 1%. We are a very,
Mm.
very small cohort. So it means being mindful of what everybody else is delivering and their intellectual property, and being creative enough within my own business to still have health and well-being and traditional lens, but to do that in a very, very different way. The expression is totally different. So that's been my challenge, but it's also been my greatest ability to do that. I'm really, really creative. Um, and I guess that's that deep connection that I do have to culture and I do have to country as well. It allows me to be in that expression of being completely creative, hence First Nations aromatherapy. Is really also looking at the aromatherapy industry and understanding the lack of acknowledgement that they've had in that industry to First Nations culture and connection to country through our plants and our waterways as well. So that really hasn't been a challenge for me. Building an Aboriginal business has definitely had its challenges. You know, it's quite political. Where do I sit within my business? Who will engage with me?
Yeah.
How inviting and open am I in this space to allow a lot of diverse relationships without compromising my culture and still
Yeah.
continuing that journey? So it means a lot of walking in so many worlds and wearing so many caps, but staying true to my culture and my roots as well.
Yeah. Yeah, because in the at the end of the podcast, or when the podcast goes live, at the bottom of the YouTube,
Yeah,
we'll have all your details where people can
yeah,
contact you,
yeah,
and all your business details there
yeah,
for people to make
yeah,
sure they can connect with you.
yeah.
A couple of other questions I've got is, where do you see yourself in 5 years' time? Well, it feels like a job interview now.
Oh, it does. Okay. Where do I see myself in 5 years' time? Oh, in 5 years' time, I feel I will be more situated in First Nations aromatherapy, developing training, really having a first class aromatherapy product
Yeah,
that represents who I am as a Gamilaroi woman, represents my language, and represents culture as well. So, really taking a first class place in the whole health and well-being industry, but coming from that healing informed lens. So feeling like it'll take first class.
yeah. Because you've been a health and wellbeing consultant for nearly 15 years now,
Yeah,
isn't it? Is
yeah.
it is there more aspects that you'd like to bring into your business without IP and copywriting too much stuff? But have you got more ideas coming to you going, I want to make this bigger and better, or
Oh, of course. Yes,
yeah,
yes. And that's about relationship. When we talk about purpose and aligning to our purpose, when we are in a place of creation and we look back on our creators, Bunjil, Bayami, they're all incredible creator spirits. If we look back on those stories, they created the land, the water, and the people. And if we sit in that place of creation from that creator spirit lens, and we think about our relationship to culture, to country, to community, to our mobs, there is that relationship continues through your business journey. And until I decide that I don't want to be in this relationship anymore, I think that creativity will stop. But sitting in that place of creation within my business, it's this endless journey of ideas and possibilities that just keep dropping in. If you look around my office here, I have just, I'll see if I can show you because it's quite hilarious. There's just walls and walls of, can you see it?
Yes.
Yeah, of just ideas. And, once I get through half of one, then I can take that half down. But there's so many incredible ideas and excitement within the business and how big I want to scale this business to, and looking at expanding my audience. And
Yeah.
um, yeah, there's just so many possibilities that I'm still really excited after like 10 or 15 years of being in this business, because I feel like it did start off quite mainstream,
Yeah.
trying to find this hunger for spirituality. And then, of course, through the mainstream well-being space, it led me deeply to work with country and culture. It was this incredible awareness that came over me, and I knew exactly what I needed to do then. So with that relationship with my business, yeah, it leads you into bigger and better places all the time.
Do you have any Aboriginal role models out there
Oh,
that you admire?
I think there are so many. There are so many female-led businesses that I love. I don't think we can go past Closing the Gap with beautiful Laura and
Oh,
Sarah.
yes. Yes.
They've been amazing in holding that space and leading forward. And I feel like they're change makers and absolute leaders in the business space. So always admire businesses like Closing the Gap. We've got Gammon Threads and so many other incredible businesses that are leading in this space. It's hard to name every single one of them, but so many that I admire.
So I've got two final questions, and
Yeah.
that one is if I could give you $1 zillion and a magic wand, and you could change anything in Aboriginal affairs, where would you start?
I would I would start with thinking about what a healed nation looks like and start building that out. For this country to be deeply rooted in Aboriginal culture, and for Aboriginal people, Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people, to be leading the way in an inclusive environment that invites so many people in, for those two incredible frameworks that we live by to merge together, and for that to be creating what Australia looks like for the next generation, and for our children growing up on this country to just be in relationship with everything, because everything has its gems and magic about it. But, are our next generation receiving all the magic that they can? So
Yeah,
that's what I do with that magic wand.
yeah, because we need them to be healed. We need them to be well in order to bring them up to take on the leadership roles that they're.
So
Yeah,
it's, yeah, what will it take for us to be in our truth and forget about the trauma? Or not
yes.
forget about it, to heal from the trauma and lead with our truth on this country. That's what excites me. Yeah.
So my last question is one, what would you like people to walk away with from our yarn this morning?
I would like them to walk away with inspiration and awareness. I guess looking and really thinking about self-reflection. Where are we with cultural safety in this country?
Yeah.
How culturally safe are we in our environments, in our relationships? And what do we need to do to move towards that healed country as well?
No, beautiful. I want to say thank you for joining me on my podcast today.
Thank you.
I have been following you for a while, so I do love all the work that you do. I want to say thanks heaps for joining us. And guys, I'll see you at the next podcast. And thanks, Lee.
Thank you.